Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminally, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today I've got a very trashy book haul for you. So you may remember that I recently finished my Read What You Own challenge, where I was forbidden from buying any new books until I'd read 100 books I already owned. There were a number of exceptions to that for things like buddy reads and group reads and projects I was doing for the channel, but generally speaking I couldn't buy any books. I did say in the video I did wrapping up that Read What You Own challenge that if I turn up with a book haul video with like dozens and dozens of books in it, you can call me out in the comments. I'm actually splitting this book haul into two videos because I thought there were just too many books to go through in one. But the vast majority of these books are actually books that were compliant with the rules of my Read What You Own challenge, in that I've either got them for like booktube events or they've been sent to me by publishers or so on. So I don't feel too bad about it. So the first of these two book hauls then, and the second one I think will be next week, is going to be focused on trashy books as we are into Garb August now. So a number of these are books that I've got for my August TBR. That I talked about in the August TBR video I did, but didn't have the physical copies in hand when I filmed that one. And some of them are just ones I've found since then that I couldn't resist. So anyway, let me go through them with you. Before I do that though, let me talk briefly about what may be the trashiest book of all, Garbology. So I'm not going to go on about this because I've talked about it in a number of videos, but this is the anthology we published for Garb August this year. I'm hugely proud that we've been able to do this. Big thanks to Troy for all his hard work on it. It really has turned out beautifully. So I wanted to show it. I feel like every book that comes into the house I have to show in a book haul video. And whilst I had shown this on the channel in other videos, I hadn't shown it in a book haul video. So I wanted to make sure I'd done that. Something else to show you then before we get into the books, and I need to be careful because the books are perched on my lap and I'm worried they might fall off, but I also got sent very recently by my buddy Mr. Fright the latest issue of his magazine, Midnight Magazine. I'm sure he would not mind me talking about this in a video about trashy books, because he, like me, loves trashy books, and we have indeed exchanged trashy books in the past. So this is just a fantastic magazine if you're a horror fan. It covers all sorts of different aspects of the horror genre and does it fantastically well. So in this issue, for example, there's an article about Richard Lehman, the king of trashy horror. There's an article about a kind of reminiscence of some time that the writer of the article spent with the movie director Jeff Burr, whose movies I've enjoyed over the years, a low budget movie director. There's an article about the DC Ghost comics, of which I've got a stack somewhere that I need to get to and read. There's a load of book reviews, including reviews of a few books I've read actually. So Snow Shark, The Spirit, The Slob, all of those I've read. So looking forward to reading the reviews of those. So yeah, loads of reviews of kind of classic paperbacks from hell. There's an article about some slightly dodgy looking Italian horror comics. So yeah, all sorts of fantastic stuff in here. It really is a magazine I wholeheartedly recommend. I'll leave a link in the video description to where you can purchase a copy in either the US or the UK. Right, let's get on to the books then. So I've got them basically stacked in size order rather than any sort of logical order, so I'll just go through them as they are. So the first couple are ones that have been featured in my TBR video for August, but I didn't have the physical copies of yet. So the first of those is Remember the Alamo by Kevin Randall and Robert Cornett. This is the problem with saving books up for book haul videos. I've actually read this already and talked about it in the weekly wrap up that went up a couple of days ago. But this was a fun kind of time travel adventure novel with the concept being that a group of mercenaries go back in time to try and defeat the Mexican forces at the Battle of the Alamo. Next then, the Cozy Cat Mystery I've got for Garb August. A killer read by Erica Chase. I don't know very much about this at all, but the channel Tome Raider featured it in a Cozy Cat video that she did the other day. So I thought I would grab a copy as I needed a Cozy Cat Mystery for Garb August. Let me see if I can find the other ones that were have been featured in that Garbology TBR already. So here we go. So we've got Twins of Evil by Sean Hudson, a recent novelisation of the, I don't know if it's a 60s or 70s, either late 60s or early 70s Hammer movie, which featured these twins, I think one of whom is a vampire and one of whom is like the good girl. I really liked the movie. I remember watching it as a teenager and enjoying it very much. I love Sean Hudson. I think he's a fantastically good trashy writer. So yeah, very much looking forward to diving into that for Garbology. We then got my novelisation of the Super Mario Brothers movie from the 90s, which, and you don't get this with novelisations anymore, which is tragic, I think, but it's got like the colour pictures in the middle. All novelisations used to have colour pictures from the movie in the middle, and you just don't see that anymore. It's obviously like a way of cutting costs by the publishers, but for me as a kid reading novelisations, this was the real treat of novelisations, was these colour inserts in the middle with, like decently printed colour pictures from the movie. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to reading the Super Mario Brothers novelisation. Anyway, right, moving on then. So Lace by Shirley Conran. I would have liked to try and get like a proper 80s copy, but I have to say this cover is pretty fab, isn't it? I do think that's really quite nicely done. So whether or not I'll finish the book remains to be seen, because it is huge. I did try last year for Garbology Savages by Shirley Conran and didn't manage to finish it. Oh, and that's the other thing I forgot about this book. So this is weird. I've just cracked it open. There was a bookmark that came with this book. So this book, which I bought secondhand off eBay, came with a bookmark in it. That bookmark is a €10 note. I'm pretty sure the euros have moved over to that kind of plastic style currency now. I should probably double check that. So I think this is no longer legal tender. But maybe if I was in Europe, I could take it into a bank and exchange it. But yeah, some rich person reading Lace on the beach on their European holidays used a €10 note as a bookmark. Okay, so that's all the ones I got for Garbology then. Let's crack on. So I've got a few. I don't know if it's the same in the States, but over here, the best place to get decent, like trashy vintage books is not secondhand bookshops, where they tend to, if they have them at all, they like price them really high. And it's not charity shops either, where they just tend to have like modern stuff on the shelves. It's like charity book sales in like stations and doctor surgeries and supermarkets. So I've got not an exceptional stack here, but certainly some stuff that looks quite fun. So first up, I got this from the station the other day when I went to visit my parents. So the station in their hometown. So this is a I was going to say Hills and Boon. Mills and Boon, double romantic suspense. Agent Bride by Beverly Long and Cowboy Undercover by Alice Sharp. So a couple of fantastic titles there, as you always get with these Harlequin or Mills and Boon books. A couple of other category romance books. So these I got from a local supermarket. I don't know anything about this series. I hadn't heard of it. So published by Bantam. The series is called Loveswept. And I got books 22 and 23 in the Loveswept series. The reason I got them is because they're both by authors who are better known for writing crime fiction, or certainly better known to me for writing crime fiction. So the first is Smitten by Janet Ivanovich. They do have nice kind of covers. I don't know when these came out. 91, so yeah, early 90s. And then the second one is The Rainbow Chasers Heart of Gold by Tammy Hogue. So yeah, looking forward to diving into both of these at some point. I posted a picture of these on Instagram, and one of the comments was, "Wow, you really will read anything, won't you?" And that is a true fact. I will read pretty much literally anything. Okay, moving on then. So this is a book I used to own. I bought it purely because it was dead cheap, and it's got an exclamation mark in the cover, so I could have used it for that bingo card prompt for Garbology. It is a fun book. It's one of the Dirk Pitt books by Clive Cussler. This is MayDay. I read Raise the Titanic, part of that series for Garbology last year, actually, because that also has an exclamation mark in the cover. This one is about a a pilot, like an evil pilot, using a World War One biplane to attack an American military base in Europe somewhere. I can't remember where it is. Oh, in Greece. So yeah, I remember it being a fun read, and this is a lovely old edition. My granddad was a big fan of the Clive Cussler books, and if he didn't have this exact edition of it, he certainly had one similar to it. I don't know when this one was printed. Must have been early on, because it's only got Iceberg and Raise the Titanic listed as the other books in the series. But yeah, sadly the page that has the date it was published on is long gone. But someone has done a nice little picture of someone there. The joys of second-hand books. Right, next up then, another one that was a kind of a Garbology standby. So this is for the step back cover prompt. So I've already got a book with a step back cover, which is a V.C. Andrews book, but I saw this one in the supermarket and couldn't resist it. It's called Caught in the Act, and it's by Bettina. Is that how you pronounce that name? Bettina Cron, who I've never heard of, but it does sound quite spicy. So let me read you the back, and then I will show you the spicy step back cover. Secret places. A shocking liaison accidentally observed opens floodgates of deception and desire. Hidden costs. A rogue's game of passionate betrayal takes an audacious, unexpected turn when emotional debts come due. Sweet rewards. In a Tudor England teeming with intrigues and absurdities, in a hotbed of scheming scoundrels and bumbling knaves, a daring thief of hearts and an innocent yet ingenious young beauty will be undone by the most delectable treachery of all, rapturous, irresistible love. So doesn't that sound great? And look at the cover. So there you can see a lady looking happy for some reason through the step back, and there you can open to see why she's looking quite so happy. So absolutely wonderful. Okay, and then finally from that same supermarket, 2 crime novels by an author I hadn't heard of, Kay Hooper, but they both look quite fun, and they do, dare I say it, both look quite trashy. So they are Hunting Fear, which also has a step back cover actually. I didn't realise that. Not like a really nice one with a hole in it, but still. And Stealing Shadows, which also has a step back cover. So I've got 3 step back covers. Yeah, so these are both kind of serial killer style books, by the looks of it, about stalkers and things like that. So hopefully fun, diverting reads when I get to them. And then finally in this trashy stack, a couple of books that were sent to me by the author. I'm sure he won't mind me saying these books are trashy. He kind of sold them to me, wouldn't sell them to me, explained them to me as kind of like men's adventure type books. They look really good, really looking forward to getting to them. So the author is Jethro Wegener. The 2 books are 6 Bullets to a Man and The Tennessee Killers. So both of them I think feature a character called Duke Gibbs. So yeah, set in the 70s. Duke Gibbs is a Vietnam veteran trying to unravel a dangerous conspiracy. So that does sound like a lot of fun. So yeah, really looking forward to these 2. So yes, that's my trashy book haul. Watch out for next week for a non-trashy book haul. Let me know if you've read any of the books I talked about, particularly if you've read the Loveswept ones. I'm keen to know more about those. So yeah, let me know if you've read those. And as always, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.